So, let's start with the good news. You successfully completed university or a master's program and did well enough for you to have been hired as a full-time employee. You skillfully navigated an arduous, multiple-round interview process and landed a wonderful role in an amazing company. Getting a job is like qualifying to run a marathon. You have been admitted, your number has just been pinned to your chest, but you still have to run the race. You have not done anything yet. The real work starts now. Here's the bad news. In my experience, only 30% of your success can be attributed to your education and hard skills, which have been influenced and shaped by your intelligence quotient, IQ. You've probably spent the last 20 years focusing on these. The remaining 70% of your success is based on your ability to understand and manage yourself and work well with others. Qualities that most of you have probably never worked on. Best-selling author and emotional intelligence expert Daniel Goleman takes this argument one step further. He believes that emotional intelligence accounts for 80 to 90% of the differentiating skills that contribute to success. Your efforts in school, university, or college have been focused on mastering certain topics, and you've probably spent most of your academic career working as an individual contributor. You didn't have to play nicely with the other kids in the class. And while you might have been on some challenging, read horrific, group projects, you only had to spend a finite amount of time with your teammates. You may even have had the luxury of choosing your group. At work, you do not have that luxury. Although you might move from one group to another, you can neither control who you work with nor who your manager will be. To put it bluntly, until you are moved to another team or work for another company, work is one endless group project. The 70-20-10 guidelines for learning how to be an effective leader were developed by the Center for Creative Leadership after more than 30 years of research. They are especially useful for thinking through your career and performance at work. According to these guidelines, 10% of your learning comes from training, 20% from other people such as mentors, coaches, sponsors, and managers, while a whopping 70% comes from challenging on-the-job assignments and experiences. If you're fresh out of university or college and you've just started out on your career, your learning has come solely from classroom training. You haven't had the opportunity to build relationships with the individuals you will learn from, nor have you had key job experiences and assignments. These two elements, which you lack at this point, will eventually make up the bulk of the learning which you will need to be a leader in your workplace. Remember, work is not like school. I know this may sound obvious, but it needs to be said. I wish someone had said it to me when I first started working, or even 10 years ago. Even though I consciously knew I was starting my career, the switch did not flip that I was now in a different environment with different rules, and that my approach would also have to change. The system worked, and I worked it, so if it ain't broke, why fix it? As usual, I resolved to put my head down, work hard, and put in long hours. I would be disciplined. That was pretty much the extent of my plan. Let's spell out a few differences between work and university. At university, having a great relationship with a professor is not a requirement for getting good grades. I never built any relationships with my professors, and I still graduated with honors in the top 25% of my class. You got the syllabus for the course. The professor told you when the exams were scheduled, unless they got you with the sneaky pop quiz from time to time. You knew what percentage of your final grade was made up of the final exam versus other components of the course.